doing a, whoops, it's probably dark. Got beautiful sunlight coming in. I'll show you. I don't get sun in many of the rooms. The kitchen, which is why the cats are laying, one's laying right there. I'll show you. That's Milo. He sees the sun coming. That's the only other room. This is the office. Let me give you a mini tour. I'm not quite moved into it yet. But this is what he wants. He wants that right there, the sun. But this is where we're at right now. I got some stuff all moved in, down to these few boxes. Got that going, right? But yeah, this is where I'm going to be working. And I'm looking forward to it because look at the sun. Chester likes it. Yeah. But let's sit down because we have a serious topic. Oh, here comes the other cat. Okay, hello in today's video. But this one, we're going to talk about money. And this question or these comments come up almost regularly about you can't make money on TPT. It's too hard, yada, yada, yada. If you are new or returning, welcome. Here it is, so primary. We talk teacher side hustles, TPT today. But there's this question of, is TPT too saturated? Can you really make money? And yes, of course, you can make money in many businesses, but there are always going to be those up at the top who are making a lot of money and the rest of us at the bottom who are making some money. And I do make a money related video every year. So this is this year's video. This is not my income report, okay? An income report will be coming after I get a couple 12 weeks things done, okay? And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I made a video back in January about working my business using the 12-week year method. Anyways, go check that one out when you're finished watching this one. But there was a graph, you can sort of see it. I'll give you a better picture of it in just a moment, about TPT income. I think it was just over a year ago, Teachers Pay Teachers started adding the store ranking, your store ranking in your dashboard. And I think it was the best thing, one of the best things that they've done, not to create competition or anything like that, but you can see how you're doing in comparison to TPT. And the other week I was talking about how many stores there are. We don't know. I said there were just over 200,000. Mike says there are over 300,000. I don't know. Based on my math, the way I calculate things, anyways, it doesn't matter. So TPT has between 200 and 300,000 stores. Is that saturated? No, it's not saturated. There are currently 11 million products, resources of some sort on TPT. Is that saturated? Nope. 11 million. Think about what Etsy has on their store, right? Their storefront. They have a much wider audience, but they have millions, if not billions, of resources. Teachers Pay Teachers, when it first started, was like a godsend to so many teachers out there, because teaching is a tough business. If you are new in your teacher journey, I try to be careful what I say because I don't want to discourage you, but this is a hard occupation. And to be a career teacher, which is a teacher that's, more than 20 years teaching, I'm about to hit 28. We have seen a lot of change. And when Teachers Pay Teachers showed up in the early 2000s, it was like, oh, I have purchased over 1,000 products. I think I might even be I don't even want to look. I have purchased a lot because I was changing grades and everything. And it's a lot of work to create units from scratch. I was actually told by a principal, no, we're not going to give you math books. Create your own. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I ended up finding one and then using that as a supplement. But anyways, that's another story. So Teachers Pay Teachers shows up and people just bought. So if you were on Teachers Pay Teachers back in 2008, 2012, and if you were a Teachers Pay Teachers seller, you could upload a product and it would sell. Probably at least 60, 70, 80% of the time. Because teachers needed them. Teachers needed resources. The internet was still growing at this point, and social media wasn't quite where it is now, that's for sure. And for the first time, I think teachers felt that someone was there to help them. And so they purchased, and many became loyal followers of certain sellers. And so it didn't matter what that seller put out, it got purchased. We had not me, I was teaching in a private school when I was using Teachers Pay Teachers initially. But for many teachers, especially primary teachers, we used a lot of our personal income to purchase resources, labels, decor, banners, all that stuff, classrooms, decor, all of it, freely. No one had a problem with it. That's what primary teachers did. Then when the pandemic showed up, for many of us, our school districts offered us nothing. When our province went online, they gave us a project management system to use that wasn't for educators and students. So it was a huge struggle and it was very frustrating. So then again, Teachers Pay Teachers sellers made a lot of money because they offered online resources. They quickly made the shift, and not everybody, but many sellers made that shift to making digital products, and teachers were finding support from these teacher sellers and buying their products again. So now we're basically past the pandemic. It's still around in smaller degrees. And now we're in a situation where in many of our countries, we are facing ridiculously high grocery bills. Everything is on the rise as far as price. We no longer have the income that we used to pour into our classrooms. And teachers are leaving in record numbers. When I see these new student teachers, I don't see career-oriented teachers coming in. Some of them are actually just they're coming for a job, and if something better comes along, they want to leave. Or if it gets too hard, which, let's face it, if you're a long-term teacher, you have had those hard years, and we're still here, some of us. So there's a real shift in our education world. Teachers still aren't making enough money. And that's one reason why Teachers Pay Teachers started. It started not only to support the teacher in the classroom, but it also went to help be a good supplementary income for the teacher who they loved being in the classroom, but they could not pay the bills. And there's many, many thousands and thousands of us that were in that situation, and some are still in that situation. So the way we do Teachers Pay Teachers shifts again. But this shift has been harder because at one point, selling on Teachers Pay Teachers was easy. And it is no longer that way. I'm sorry to say. It's not. So when those rankings came out, they actually revealed to all the sellers just how much money people were in fact making on Teachers Pay Teachers. Because in many businesses, you have, this wide berth of employees, sellers, content creators, whatever you want to call them, and you've got the bell curve. People at the bottom making almost nothing, people at the top making pretty good money, and then you've got everybody else. But what's happening and what this graph is showing us is that depending on what you deem as good income, so let's just say $1,000 a month would make a huge dent in your financial situation. $1,000 a month. Based on this graph, you have to be in the 97th to 98th percentile. That's the top 2 to 3% of TPT sellers for only $1,000 a month. Yikes. That's significant. I'm at 96%. So I am like, that's my goal, to get into that top 3% as opposed to being in the top 4%. But you have to realize that if you want to break out of these bottom numbers, you are going to have to do something different. You have to. The uploading worksheets days are almost over. Because here's another thing. If you think about the trends in education, and I know that you can talk to some TPT sellers and they're going to say digital resources are dead. You don't need them anymore. And I would say completely wrong. I would say that's completely wrong. Because I can tell you in our school district, and we have one of the largest in the province, they're telling us we can't use the photocopier. We don't have a class set of iPads or laptops either. So now what do we do? Education is shifting, and we as sellers and even teachers in the classroom are having a hard time making that shift because the educational experts don't know what the shift is either. They're just saying you're got to do this, but you can't do that, and you got to maybe consider this, but you can't do that. But they don't know exactly how to get you from shifting this way to that way. They don't know how to do this. So we don't know how to do it either. And these really top 1-2%, whoops, let me just go back. Let me show this to you right now, and let's just talk about this. And then I have some ideas for you as to what we can do about this. Okay, let me first of all let's give the person who created this credit. Sorry, I can't remember her first name, but her TPT store, I think, is called Education Adventures with an E instead of an A in Adventures. Adventures. I will keep this, I'm going to talk over the side here, and we'll have this on here. So let's go to the meat of this right here. First of all, this is not exact. And this is also from January of 2024. So we're talking about a year ago. But I would suspect it's still similar, because if you remember in the town hall meeting last week, TPT was actually down 2% from last year, January. So this is going to be still, I think, somewhat close. I think it's the closest thing we've got. Let me just say that. Okay. But if you've just started TPT and you received a store ranking that said you are currently in the 68th percentile, based on this, what that's telling us is you're probably making under $20 a month. Let me know down in the comments if you're willing to share your ranking and your monthly income for, you can choose the month. I don't care. It'd be interesting to see, as we're into the third month of 2025, whether this is still pretty close. I honestly did not even look at my February rankings. My February income was down from last year, but not much. I think it was within $20. Actually, let me pause this for a second and I will quickly look it up. So I'm going to show you a screenshot of my February ranking. I'm at the 89th percentile. So I've gone down. That's fine. Wasn't working on the store back then. So based on the 89th percentile, I'm making between 127 and 145. And yes, I did. Almost exactly. Do you want to be making $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month, right? Look, do you see the store rankings? How do they base store ranking? There's an FAQ on TPT as to how they rank stores. First of all, this ranking is based on the overall gross sales compared to another store that has made a sale in that month. So if your store made 0, you won't be ranked and they're not going to compare me to you either. So if you don't make sale, you don't get included in the ranking, and it's your gross sales, not your earnings. That number, my 134 was my earnings, not my gross sales. So let me just turn this off and let's talk about what do we do. So what that graph tells us is that if you want to try and earn into the top 3% or even 1%, say you want to earn 10,000 a month, the work you're going to have to do to get there is going to be hard, and it's probably going to be long. Now, that's not going to be the case for all of us, but it will probably be for 99% of us, because 99% of us won't do the work. So we won't get there. That's just a fact, and that's a fact of life. You think about Olympic athletes, that they got to perform at their absolute best on that day, in that minute, to win that gold medal. And maybe they do their absolute best and someone still beats them. I mean, it's not funny. I just think toughest thing to do, to be at your absolute best in that moment. TPT is a long game. Yes, you can make money. But when we say yes, you can make money, we're talking $100, $200, $50. We're talking the lower numbers rather quickly. If you get into one of these smaller niches, and I've said this before, yes, you can even make $1,000 a month in a matter of months. But what ends up happening is we make products that we want to make. But that's not necessarily what teachers need. It may be what you need. I made products that I needed in the classroom, but I was competing with way too many other products of the same nature and a similar look on Teachers Pay Teachers. They weren't going to get sold. You have to play this smart, and you have to be patient. The other thing is, which we really don't talk about, is we're not talking strategy anymore, because in some places, strategy is considered a bad word. I don't know why. Strategy is smart. We're trying to figure out based on the shift in education, the shift in online products. We got to get ourselves out of this curve, the bell curve, and into areas where people aren't there yet. And do I have the answers to all this? Absolutely not. I don't. But I have ideas. And I think sometimes we can use AI to help us with some ideas, just to get us thinking outside the worksheet, just to get us outside of the worksheet box. I think that's our biggest problem. We're all making worksheets. I think that's a mistake. And yeah, I mean, it's easy to make a worksheet, but look what you're competing with. There's just too many on Teachers Pay Teachers. We're getting more and more districts that, teachers got to do it out of their own pocket. They don't want worksheets, especially when you're competing with the internet and websites that are offering them for free. And you've got spam stores that are taking people's worksheets, copying them in some way, and then selling them for cheaper. Because let's be honest here. If this worksheet at $5 and this worksheet for $4 are pretty close, I'm going for the $4. This whole thing on Teachers Pay Teachers regarding bundles and bundles being knocked off by 80% is nuts. I really have not liked this, the way they've knocked down bundles. All this hard work has just been marked down to dollar store pricing. It's terrible. It's terrible. I feel like I need to switch. This chair is not comfortable. So what are we going to do? A couple things. You need to sit down and you need to brainstorm ways of making resources that teachers need, not what you want, what they need. And the first thing I would do before I even make that product is to establish a part of the TPT world. What do I mean by that? We are just, majority of us are just throwing things out there. And we may say, okay, so for me, I teach grade 1 currently. I'm making K-2 products. I'll make a little of this, I'll make a little of that. Last year I made some French products, like I'm just throwing things out there that are in the K-2 market. If I want to get myself higher, I can't do that. I can't be everybody. I can't be everyone for everybody. I can't do that. It's not how business works right now. I need to hone in on something specific for teachers that is maybe a little bit quieter on Teachers Pay Teachers, but I'll get better sales. And it sounds the exact opposite of what I should be doing. Like there are TPT sellers who think by having 1,000, 2,000 products, they're going to make 10, 20,000 a month. And they may. I've met some sellers online who have 300 to 500 products and they're not even making $300 to $500 a month. That's terrible. But if you look, when they go and ask me to look at their store is all over the place. You've got to hone in on something. And you don't have to do it forever. Again, as we're talking in these 12-week year systems, if you spend some time honing in on even 1 or 2 places in the teacher world that you want to create for, I think you will do a lot better. I think that's one way of getting improved sales. That's one. Okay, it's not the only way, I'm sure. But there's even a lot of bigger sellers are doing a lot of ads. And now you got to compete with them in the ad world. The first place I'm going to go, now that I've looked at my data from the previous 2 weeks ago, and my goal is to get more views, I think where I'm going to try and get more views is on a specific thing within K-2. I'm not going to go for everybody in K-2. I wanted to do that. I have this massive list of resources that I want to create, but they're across the board. As much as I want to do that, I don't think profitability-wise, it's the best thing. When I was taking a YouTube course, because all of this, like that graph is very similar to YouTube. There is a very small percentage of YouTubers that make enough money to be full-time content creators. The majority are making less than $1,000 a month. And I'm in that. I make less than $1,000 a month, right? TPT and YouTube are very similar in incomes for me, but still less than $1,000 a month. So I'm still in that part of the bell curve for YouTube. How do I get myself out of there? I've got plans, but so in this YouTube video, for this YouTube course that I was taking, he talked about a Venn diagram. You know, Venn diagrams, you got a circle and a circle, and what's the important stuff is that overlapping middle, right? Now he does it for 3 circles, and I honestly cannot remember the 3rd circle, but let's do it for 2 circles. Let's make a circle for all the things that you like to teach, okay? What you're interested in, your passions, okay? So as a teacher, what I love teaching is math. I love teaching spelling. I know I'm a little bit warped, I know. I like doing PE. I like French. I don't mind these things, right? I like social studies. So I've got 5. So I can write all these things. I am very good at classroom management. But I have giftings, right? You have giftings. Those are part of your passions, what you are interested in, okay? So let's use that as this part of the circle. Now, this part of the circle is what's making money right now on TPT. What's selling really well right now? And that's your trending products, right? What are buyers looking for right now? So what is popular right now on TPT? Dr. Seuss. Digital resources. Digital resources is there every single month. St. Patrick's Day, Read Across America, Dr. Seuss activities, mostly literacy stuff. That's what's trending right now, okay? If you want a broader list, you go to the TPT Seller Blog, and they will give you a bigger list. Let's find it, TPT Seller Blog. Scroll down, top, TPT searches for April, May, and June. Even better, because then we can plan, and if you get spring break, you can work on some of these things. And it's big, and they break it down into 4. Pre-K, okay, pre-kindergarten, grade 1 to 4. I actually think grade 1 should be with K, because if they were really looking at it, there are a lot of countries where the ages for kindergarten in the US is the age for grade 1. Just a thought. But if you look at this list, let's do grade 1 to grade 4. They're already talking end of year activities for some people, Earth Day, fractions, summer, writing, Easter, main ideas, contractions, memory books, elapsed time, summer packets, counting money, narrative writing. And I mean, counting money, what am I selling right now? I'm selling money right now, a lot of it. There is an extended list. So put some of these things into this circle. So you've got your passions here, and you've got what's trending here, and what shows up in both. What overlaps? And it's going to be in that middle section. That's what you want to do. But do you have to do a worksheet? No, you don't. How can you take these trending things and make them non-worksheets? Let's think about this whole issue about the photocopier and teachers being given a ream of paper for the month. So they got to be really careful of what they photocopy. What are you going to offer them? Because this is a growing trend in education with teachers. Teachers will often complain about the photocopier. So digital, yeah, absolutely, you can do digital. What else can you do? Because by creating a product that is not a paper, you've already separated yourselves from the masses. You've already done it. So what else can you do? Go on to ChatGPT or go on to Google Gemini, I think it is, and ask, what can I make besides a worksheet? If you're on Seller Spy, which is what I highly recommend, if I go to Seller Spy, and one of the features that she has, one of the tools, is a product idea generator. When you go in there, okay, I'm going to type in here counting money, because that is in my little box of my Venn diagram. So I'm going to say counting money. And this is AI, okay? You can actually tell when it pops up in a second here. I'll see AI written right up there. Might not. I used to see it. Let's see if it changes it. So here we've got worksheets. Okay, I don't want worksheets. Here's worksheets. No, I don't want this. This one is a simulation activity. This one is digital games. Okay, that sounds good. And this one is task cards. So with task cards, you still need to do some photocopying, but you're doing only 1 or 2 copies of something. Usually putting it on cardstock, something a little bit more firmer than paper, and laminating them for them to last. Now, some people don't like laminating because it's bad for the earth. You do you, okay? But there I go. I've got 3 ideas that are not worksheets. So now I can turn around and go, okay, maybe I could look into this math simulation. I have no idea what that means. So it's given me a little bit of an explanation. I could take this explanation, go into ChatGPT and say, can you elaborate on this more? What would this look like? Right? And then see what they say. If you're still creating boom cards, make boom cards. That's what I'm recommending to you. If you want to make more money, you are going to have to make something different. You're doing this, you're making these products. There's one more thing I want you to do, and then I want you to, because I want you to draw a line in the sand. What does that mean? I want you to commit to a certain direction in your store. In your store, where it says about the store, I don't want you to talk about you. Okay, I've made this mistake. I got to fix this. This is on my list for March. It says, hi, I'm Lorianne. I've been teaching 27 years, everything from kindergarten to grade 12. No one cares. No one cares. They want a product that's going to help them in their need. Okay, that's what I got to talk about. Okay, if I'm going to make, let me just say I really haven't decided which resources I'm going to focus on right now for the next 6 months to a year. I am going to, and I'm still going to upgrade things. But what I need to do, and I've already started doing it, is I'm going to send a message to people who look at my store, what they will find when they're in my store. Because look at, this is front and center at the moment. Now, I remember with the town hall meeting, that's moving, and I can't remember where it's moving to. I'll have to rewatch a bit of that video. But nonetheless, make a message for yourself as to how you are going to help your buyers. And to say, I'm going to save you time and money, is said by everybody. Well, almost everybody. But I would say 90% of people say, I'm going to save you time and money. No. No, you're not. Because when you save time and money, and so does everyone else, now they're going to do comparison shopping. Who's cheaper? This worksheet or this worksheet? You need to solve something else. You've got to stand out, right? Draw a line in the sand. You've got to say something that is not, I'm going to save you time and money. And don't look up cinnamons. Don't look up cinnamons. Don't look up synonyms for time and money. Here's again where I have a little conversation with ChatGPT. I want to know, what problems do teachers face right now in the classroom? What do they face right now? What are the problems? Lack of support, lack of funds. Throw them at me. Write them down below. Time has always been there. I mean, we are all busy. I think to say I'm going to save you time, prove it by showing them a high quality product. But I want you to rewrite this part of your store and say, and then fix your banner to match what you wrote. So right now I've got games, independent work, home activities, centers. Everyone else has got the exact same stuff. I'm not going to get more sales or more views that way. I'm just not. I got to put something different up there. Okay? I've got to stand out amongst the curve. If you have not watched the town hall meeting to see what the store is going to look like, I recommend you watch that. If you have not watched the 12-week year because you're thinking, how do I create a plan? Watch that one in the one back in January. I'm going to, all these videos that I'm making right now are not necessarily videos that I want to make. These videos are based on what you're asking me to do. I am here for you. I want to support you. That's the whole point of this channel. Yes, I'll talk to you about my journey, but I'm more interested in your journey. So next week's video, we're going to delve more into the store with the pending new changes to it. How do we make a jump on them to make sure that our store is going to stand out? We're going to talk a little bit about the banner. We're going to go back to this message, and we're going to make sure we've got good thumbnails because they're going bigger, right? They can see them on the large scale. So we got some things we got to fix, and this is coming. I think they said early spring. Early spring is coming in the next month. So this might be here sooner than we know. I'm going to be on spring break in less than 2 weeks. And so I'm hoping to get that video done. And I've got a couple other videos. We're going to do it even a little bit more of, someone asked me about, they'd like to see my conversations with ChatGPT. I'm going to make a video on that. I'll think of something specific that I can talk to ChatGPT about, and I'll record it, okay? Just so you see what our conversations are like. I have a relationship with AI. I don't know if that's sad or not, but anyways, wherever you are in the world, I hope you and your family are staying safe. Be healthy. Take good care of you, okay? Because you can't give from an empty tank. Take care of yourself. In the meantime, you can watch that video next or the playlist. See ya.